Hello, welcome again to Reyna Clothier. I'm Reyna. We're going to do another video episode of Reyna Chats. So let's start off with this gentleman here. As you can see on the screen, I'm trying to remember, I want to say Mazzarini. They call him the boss. Charlie Luciano was under him at one point. If you know Boardwalk Empire, I'm doing the theme of these. So these next number of future episodes of Reyna Chats are going to be dedicated to that show because, man, there's a lot of content involving suits. So I'll be happy to discuss them. So with Joe the Boss Mazzariti, I think, maybe saying the last name wrong, but Joe the Boss. Love the Italian accents on these gentlemen, especially with Charlie Luciano. Lucky Luciano's in there. Man, he plays a terrific character. Don't know his real name, but as an actor, man, he's terrific. So let's start with this, the shirt. I typically start with the shirt and I kind of go out essentially. So the shirt, the tie, if he has a three-piece suit, so the vest and then the jacket. And even the pants, essentially, if it's separate from the jacket. So if it's a combination. The shirt, man, is just a classic, timeless piece. It has the French cuffs, a straight French cuff, so it's not an angled one. I personally like angled French cuffs, so basically it helps you a little bit because if you want the length or the width, your width of your sleeve cuff to be kind of more tailored or tapered or fitted to you, and makes it a little smaller. Just looks a little better in my opinion. Having an angled one, it kind of makes it skinnier or thinner, if you will. So I really enjoy those better. But nevertheless, a straight French cuff is timeless. You can never go wrong with that. It just makes it a little bigger, essentially, the appearance of it. But again, as it kind of drapes down from your hand, if you see how he's sitting down, man, it just looks terrific. And again, you have your sleeves out just a little bit. The jacket sleeve is a little shorter than your shirt cuff sleeve, so or your arm length. That is a timeless shirt. The spread looks very similar to mine. If anything, it's a little bit narrower, but still almost the same as mine. You can barely tell by the naked eye. Nice tie. Yeah, it looks, I don't think the tie made it as a timeless piece. It looks kind of more of a pattern, unmodern, non-modern pattern that it has. But the three-piece suit, so the vest, man, or some people call it the waistcoat, essentially. In America, we call it vest, but waistcoat as well. Man, it covers the majority of the shirt. So if you notice, it's a lapel vest. I'm a big fan of lapel vests. If anything, always have that. You can take it a little step further. So on the boutonniere lapel buttonhole, on the lapel of the vest, you can have it contrasted thread color. So that looks nice. If you take off the jacket and only wear the vest, it looks like you don't even need the jacket. So you can mix and match with that as a perfect ensemble as well. So this looks, since it has a high button stands, the first button stands in the lapel vest, I think it might be almost like an 8 button or between a 6 and an 8 button. So there's more buttons essentially coming from on the top to the bottom of the vest. I like those, but why do you wear a tie then? So you're barely showing the tie. Again, I think it covers it up more, but to the positive side of that, it shows like you're more, it's almost like having more body armor, so you look tougher, if you will. It looks like you're going even more prepared to quote-unquote war, whether it's business, whether it's a big negotiation deal, or mob stuff that they deal with bootlegging back in the day. So not any of those concepts. It almost looks like more of a power concept than anything. I personally don't like it. I think the first button stance is very high in my opinion. You can definitely get kind of by your breast area or your chest area. That might be great. But he might have an extra button there, so it kind of tightens it up more. Nevertheless, it still looks great, especially when it's complemented with the two-piece suit with the vest. The fabric, I don't like. It's a wide, thick stripe pattern. So wide meaning the density from one stripe to another is very wide. I'm okay with the wideness of it. It will look really nice with that wide. I wouldn't go any wider, but the thickness of the stripe, it just doesn't look elegant. It looks powerful, so I have to give him that. But then again, if you ever know the saying, the suit doesn't make the man makes the suit. So a very person with no confidence, doesn't matter what suit you have on, you'll always be without confidence. So the man has to be confident, then he wears the garment. So I think this man wears the garment well, but I just personally don't like it. It sticks out too much in my opinion. So, but I do like stripe patterns. I think that's a next level in your ensemble. If you're getting your wardrobe started, something like this, a nice gray solid garment you can't go wrong with. Navy, stick with your top three, your charcoal, navy, gray. Then you kind of venture out little by little. Maybe you have a stripe, maybe you have a subtle pattern, and then you can have different colors within those stripes and different patterns. And you can go with a specific sport jacket, and then once you get that, it's a never-ending joy for adult men with their garments. And heck, then you can go to the next level with different fabrics, different materials of the fabric, whether it's a linen, whether it's a silk, whether it's a wool blend silk, whether it's a cotton linen silk, whether it's a super wools. So many different types of the fibers of each garment as well. So you can be very creative. This gentleman, he went to the top when it comes to creativity with that jacket. Again, it's something that will stick out. I wouldn't call it a timeless piece, but it definitely serves its purpose in the 1920s era, because that type of organization, some gentlemen want to stick out because literally his name is Joe the Boss. So he wants to stick out a little bit more, and he sticks with a subtle pattern, which is a stripe. Some may argue that that's not a subtle pattern. There's different subtleness of a stripe pattern. This is definitely not one of them, but you can have a charcoal with a kind of a soft chalk stripe pattern. That would be well. Doesn't look like it's striped from far away, but as you get closer you can see the stripe. Or they have a pinstripe, which it sticks out even more essentially. So always just depends on different types of stripes. But he's wearing it well. Again, I have to go back to the fitting. The fit makes it wonderful. If you have a well-fitted garment, hell, I could even argue as much as you can wear whatever, as long as it fits great. And again, you have a good physique, a good healthy body. It just shows your body. And let's be honest, ladies, if there are any ladies watching this, it is very attractive. Again, I'm not talking about like a tight fitted suit, no, but a well fitted suit that complements your body. Again, that takes about 99% of your issues when you're wearing a garment. When you have a fitted garment, you can almost wear anything and it'll look nice. But yeah, and this is a perfect example. He's wearing not a timeless pattern, a very flamboyant pattern that few can pull off, and yet he does it beautifully because it just fits him great. But one thing I want to show you guys is, let's see here. I don't know if you can see it, but a well-tailored garment typically matches the stripes. So again, for a made-to-measure, it might be hard doing it because, again, from a true master tailor compared to an MTM or made-to-measure, it's a whole different ballgame. You have to give a higher respect to a master tailor that makes the garment by hand or with the sewing machine and very little machine work itself. So they will take the time and actually matching the stripes, and that gives more of a symbol of true craftsmanship. Whereas a made-to-measure, you really have to look into if you can do it or not because it's more of a machinery process. But in those times, I could imagine, heck, I will imagine that they don't have a made-to-measure world at that time. So it's literally a master tailor that will do your garments, and they did it very well. So that will do it for this episode from Joe the Boss. Great movie, or great TV show. It's called Boardwalk Empire. If you get a chance, if anything, on the social media world, I'm sure there's clips of them. That's how I got into it little by little, and watch episodes on YouTube, some of them, not all of them. But yeah, it's a great show. Definitely get into it. Steve Buscemi is kind of like the main character for most of it, but they introduce so many new characters that are great and just phenomenal and iconic mob world celebrities. I wouldn't even call them celebrities, just important figures that hold water over these decades, over the century. Great stories. It happened, whether it's good or bad, it happened in the U.S., so it's very, they're very powerful. Some may say they're still powerful. They're just underground now, but heck, they were underground. That was their forte, was to be underground. So it was very fascinating how that captivated in the late 1800s and then in the early 1900s and mid 1900s. They were powerful. So and they use a lot of their garments to showcase their level of power. So they knew what to wear, what not to wear, and how to portray it. So I love it. I shouldn't say love it. I really, really enjoy it. I'm learning more about that. And again, as I critique more of them, I'll be happy to share the stories with them. And again, how they portray themselves in the scenes, essentially. So, and if you notice the, crossing your legs like that, some may say that's a feminine look, but I've been noticing in some of the scenes they have that cross instead of kind of leaning, just putting your leg over your knee on your other leg. It shows more of a power stance too. So it's very interesting how they implement that just by sitting down. And of course, you have your cigarette. They didn't utilize cigars. It was more cigarettes at the time. So they did that with the spirits as well. Of course, spirits with the bootleg world of prohibitions. So, but yeah, different meanings for everything. I really enjoyed the show. But yeah, until then, hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you're interested in a garment, feel free to look us up, book an appointment. We'd love to have you as our client. Until next time, take care.